y'all ready, kids?
I said it before and I'll say it again.
The whole thing is ridiculous.
You've just tuned in to the greatest radio show on earth. You're listening to the Mix Talk Radio with Andres T. Your home for news, sports, hot topics, and more. And now the host of the show, Andres T.
Good morning, good day, good afternoon. How are you doing today? I am your host, Andres T. Thanks for tuning in to Chalk Talk, which airs on ESPN Radio 101.7, the Team KTM FM, Rio Rancho, Albuquerque. Of course, it's the Mix Talk Radio, which is on the Mix Media Network. Yes, the show's all about talking news, current events, sports, hot topics, and more. Yeah, all on demand. So thank you for tuning in, listening, and watching. Remember, you can catch the show at your fingertips. Right there, yeah, easy access, online at themixmedianetwork.com, themixmedianetwork.com. Make sure you get on there, check out all on-demand content, past shows, all that great stuff, all cool contests, all kinds of fun stuff. So get on there and check out what's happening at themixmedianetwork.com. The show is all about talking whatever's going on. That's what we like to talk about. Hit me up with a message. I want to know your thoughts. Message me at themixtalkradio@gmail.com. themixtalkradio@gmail.com. Yes, the show is brought to you by McKernan Sports and Entertainment, family-friendly and fun entertainment for everybody in the community. Visit them online to see what's happening at McKernanSports.com. All right, I'm feeling good, and let's drop into the show. Lots of great things happening on the show today. First in, we'll have in the studio Carrie Copeland, who's the executive director of ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease, the New Mexico chapter. She'll be in studio to talk about their upcoming walk here in September that you need to be at, that you need to be a part of and support, because everybody supports and has somebody who's been affected by Lou Gehrig's disease, whether it's a friend, family, or someone down the way. So a great organization to help find a cure and walk to defeat ALS. Also on the show, I'll be showing you footage. Yes, I went to the Albuquerque Hot Fest, the 5th annual Albuquerque Hot Fest at the Hard Rock Casino Hotel, Albuquerque, and it was fun. Let me tell you, it's beer-tastic. Yes, I love using that word. So it was great. So we'll have footage, video, and actually interviews and fun stuff. So the great show lined up for you today. Absolutely. So all right, let's dive into our show. And this segment is sponsored by Choice Music Groups. Recording, beats, graphics. Hey, you can't go wrong. One of the best studios in town, and very, very cost-effective, and a big bang for your buck. Budget friendly. So choicemusicgroup.com, CHOYSE musicgroup.com. So let's bring in our guest. Yes, I'm excited to be here with one of my special guests. She's no stranger to the show, and she always puts on a great show down at the walk. And I'm here with Executive Director of ALS New Mexico, Carrie Copeland. How you doing?
I'm good, Andres. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's been been a while since I've seen you, and how are things going?
Things are good. The association's been going really well. Lots of support for the walk last year. We're moving. Gosh, I think we're like a month out from it right now, and just trying to get those walkers registered and get people out there this year. So.
That's good. And it's been you work hard. I gotta say, you work hard and getting this thing organized. And last year's walk was humongous, and people lapping each other.
Yeah, no, it was. We were packed down there into Isotopes Park, and this year we actually are expanding the walk. We're leaving the park this year so that we can accommodate all of those people. We had over 1,200 people that came out last year in support of ALS and individuals and family members that have the disease, and it was a great day. I think it had a really good environment and atmosphere around it as well. So.
Yeah. Now, we'll talk about the walk here in just a bit, but first off, for those who don't know, ALS is otherwise known as Lou Gehrig's disease, after the famous baseball player. Tell us a little bit about what ALS means. I mean, it's a tongue twister to say, but what exactly is ALS?
So ALS is amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, which I'll quiz you on that later and see if you can get that out. So it's a tongue twister. It's why we go by ALS. Or in 1939, when Lou Gehrig was diagnosed, it was kind of easy to jump on board with that, and we had somebody famous to connect it with. One of the sad things is so last year we had a young person that was 28, 29 with ALS, and guess what? People in their 20s don't know who Lou Gehrig is. So it's difficult to identify, with what the disease is and, kind of know who had it showing Lou Gehrig's symptoms, et cetera, in comparison to somebody that's living with it now. But the disease is a motor neuron disease where the neurons that fire messages to your voluntary muscles stop working. When those muscles stop working, it slowly paralyzes the individual. What a lot of people don't realize and don't really think about is because daily we breathe in and out and we don't really think about it much, but your breathing is also a voluntary muscle. So that's eventually what leads to the death of the individual.
Is suffocation and
yeah,
oh wow,
is the inability to expel the CO2.
Now this disease, even though it like as you say, it paralyzes, the brain's still active. There's still I mean, you're really in a way, is it kind of like you're trapped in your body kind of thing?
That is exactly what it's like. So individuals with ALS, their mind is never affected. They are fully functioning, have the same thoughts, same process. They just can't communicate. So slowly the paralysis involves speech, chewing, swallowing, limbs, and eventually causes them to be bedridden without the ability to communicate what their needs might be.
Now, is there a cure for this or any type of treatment that might help the individual?
Yeah, ALS is, there is no known cause, no known cure for it. And so there's one treatment. It is a drug that can supposedly extend their life by 3 months, and that's about it. So individuals who are diagnosed with the disease, 50% die within a 2 to 5 year time frame. So that's about the average of when people pass.
From what I understand, this drug is very expensive, isn't it?
It is. It's about $1,000 a month. Not everybody can afford it, and it's difficult to maintain that, especially when you're slowly having to pay for all of the other costs incurred. It can cost up to $200,000 a year to care for somebody with ALS. So, adding on top of it the drug that may or may not extend your life by 3 months.
Are there any speculations of what may cause it, or?
Well, 5 to 10% of all cases are familial cases. So they have identified 7 genes that are linked to ALS. They don't know what triggers the gene to start the ALS process, but they do know that there are those 7 genes. Other than that, the other 90 to 95% of individuals with ALS have sporadic ALS, and sporadic ALS just occurs to anyone, no ethnic, racial boundaries, just happens. So we don't know exactly what triggers it in individuals in those instances.
Now, I've seen articles out there, and there have been a lot of cases with either military or even athletes as Lou Gehrig's. I mean, is there something like I've heard that they had speculation like it's fertilizers in the grass? That's a possibility. I mean,
there's all kinds of speculation as to what it could be. Exposure to toxins, neck, head trauma is one of the things that they're studying to try and see if that's something that could possibly be causing it. Traumatic brain injuries, like Steve Gleason with the New Orleans Saints that now has ALS, and he took quite a few hits to the head. And so, there's things like that, especially with football players who have developed it. Military individuals who served overseas in wartime also tend to have traumatic brain injuries. So those are the areas that they're studying, hoping to find some answers.
Now, with this disease, are there individuals out there who are constantly doing research, and if so, what's the newest research or any new findings out there lately?
In the last year, actually, there's been quite a few new findings as to possible causes of the disease. One is ubiquitinin-2. It's a protein buildup in the motor neuron, and they're thinking that protein buildup is what causes the motor neuron to stop working and stop sending those messages. It's only found in a percentage of people with ALS. It's not found in every person with ALS, so it's not a straight across the board, yes, this is what causes it kind of answer. Also with familial ALS, there was a new gene discovered in the last year that identified 40% of all familial ALS cases, which is amazing. That's the largest number of ALS cases that are identified and tied to one gene. So it's kind of a huge breakthrough for this year. And that same gene, which is the C9orf72, is tied to 7% of the sporadic cases that they were studying at the time as well. So it's opened up some new questions, new avenues for research to look at and see if maybe there's generation skipping with ALS that they'd never realized before. And so it's an exciting time right now.
Good. Now, when I guess diagnosing this disease, is this like the last case scenario kind of thing where you go through trying to figure out what's wrong, can't find it, and it's kind of sort of the last?
Yeah, that's pretty much how ALS is. It's, people will start to notice weakness in their limbs. Maybe they've been tripping a little bit. Holding a cup up is really really fatigues them. They experience speech problems where they're slurring their words. So they start, looking to neurologists to see if they can find some answers. And they run every test to rule out MS and any other motor neuron disease that could possibly be. And ALS tends to be the last ditch effort because there is no one test to identify it. So it becomes a thing where it's like, okay, well, we've ruled out everything else. It's ALS. So.
Now, when after an individual's, this disease is a swift disease. I mean, once you diagnose, I've heard cases where people survive a month, 2 months, 3 months, even, and it can go longer. But I mean, it just seems like it's a very swift disease, and when it hits, it really does hit.
No, you're exactly right. Progression varies in everyone. The thing about ALS that is kind of crazy is it doesn't affect any one person in exactly the same way. The onset of symptoms is different for every individual. The rate of progression is different for every individual. We have one gentleman that we know of that's lived for 30 years now. Of course, some of that's with assistive technology that helps keep him going. But yeah, it's a crazy disease where you can get your diagnosis and pass in a year. You can notice your first onset of symptoms 5 years ago and not get your diagnosis until 2 years in, and then live another 8. So it's really...
It varies.
Yeah, it varies quite a bit. And so it's kind of a scary thing for individuals once they get that diagnosis because there is no solid answer. And being able to support the disease is very different for people too because of that rapid progression. So as each day can be different with each one of the changes that you experience. So it becomes a little more difficult for your family and to adjust to caring for you. It's part of the reason that we're around is so that we can help provide some of those answers and really work with families to, gather that information from all of our previous experience and help share it.
Now, this isn't contagious at all. You can't get it from touching. I mean, even though it's as scary as it is, it's not a contagious disease.
No, it is not a contagious disease, and I think that's probably one of the reasons that research dollars are low on it, is because, when you have a contagious disease, there's a lot of research that goes into it to try and stop that progression. And then the other reason that there's not a lot of research dollars going into it is because there's only 30,000 people living with it at any given time, which is a pretty small number. But when you look at it, MS is diagnosed at the exact same rate as ALS, and there's about 300,000 people living with MS. Wow. So the consideration really needs to be given to the number of people that we're losing, the families that are changed and touched forever by ALS, and try and figure out, better ways to fund research and find support for them because it is a pretty prevalent disease. It's just there's not the numbers out there.
Now, ALS, the chapter here in New Mexico, offers a lot of different resources and ways to get through it and help, such as counseling and things like that. Talk about that.
Right. Yeah. No. So we run support groups, monthly support groups here in Albuquerque, Santa Fe, and Las Cruces, and are trying to continually expand to reach out to others in the state living with it. We have durable medical equipment that we loan out. So that's power wheelchairs, bedside commodes, other adaptive equipment, speech devices that people can use to help get through the process of the progression. And then we just this year were able to initiate a respite care grant so that family members can get a much needed break from caring for their loved one with ALS.
I mean, because it really does take a lot to care for somebody who has ALS. Draining on the family. It
really does because, as they lose their independence and their ability to, just even eat on their own, it requires a family member or a caregiver of some nature to come in and really assist with feeding, clothing, bathing, changing the individual. And then, of course, like I mentioned earlier, all the while these people aren't able to communicate exactly what those needs are. So a lot of guesswork, a lot of strain on interpersonal relationships with family members as well.
Wow. Now, what other things does the local chapter offer? Obviously counseling. Is there a hotline that people call if there's something they freak out at something, or what do they do? Do you get that?
Yeah, anybody who's been diagnosed with ALS can become a member of our organization and join our support groups and stuff. But like I mentioned earlier, since we are connected with a lot of the families living in New Mexico with ALS, we try to become a repository of information. So if one person has experienced it, if they've shared it with us or we help them work through that, then we're able to hopefully share that with another family and problem solve and figure out ways to help them communicate with one another and figure out ways to support their loved one with ALS as they go through this process. Because, unless it's a familial case, nobody's really gone through it before. It's a first-time experience. It's rapidly progressive and changing every day. So it's just something that we try to be there to answer those questions and help out.
Yeah. Now, moving on to the walk, which is a huge and great event. Last year was, as we said earlier, was humongous. I mean,
yes.
people weren't even starting, and people were already finishing their lap. And so, how many individuals were out there that last year?
Well, that we know about and have recorded on paper, over 1,200, I would guess.
I would say there's a little more than that.
There's a few more than that. And that was, I mean, we jumped from 500 the year before, so we really weren't expecting those crowds. This year, we're a little more prepared for larger numbers. We're opening it up. We're not staying in Isotopes
So
Park.
usually, for those who may not know about the walk, it's just, usually it was just a lap around, was it one lap?
It was 8 laps around the concourse
area.
of
Okay.
Isotopes Park.
But now you're opening it up.
Yeah, we're opening it up. We're taking to the streets, which of course is a little more awareness for us. We'll still start in Isotopes Park and then go out onto Cesar Chavez, up University Cole, over to Buena Vista. And 2 laps of that will create our 3-mile walk, and I think it'll be great. You know, we won't have people walking on top of each other and trying to figure out how to maneuver through the crowds. So, no, I mean, it's a great place to be, to have to find more space to get everybody out there and accommodated.
One thing I got to say is that ALS support out here in New Mexico is outstanding. I mean, there are so many people who are affected or have a family member, friend, or somebody down the way who are connected somehow that has this disease, and it affects them. So the support here is, I gotta say, one of the best supports out there.
Yeah, it's truly, I think, once somebody has been affected or touched by ALS, whether, you know, it'd be a friend, a family member, if you stay involved in that person's life and you see what the family goes through, it's hard to walk away from. Like, I personally had no experience with it when I first started at the ALS Association. You know, now I've known 130 people that have had ALS. I've lost 30 to 40 people with ALS. I'm personally impacted now, and I think that happens to just about everybody that has touched a family or helped a family living with ALS. It's you can't walk away from it because of just what it does to a family.
Now, did your kickoff party already happen, or will it be happening?
It did. We had our kickoff party.
It did. How did that go?
Back in July. It went really well. We had, you know, mostly our same supporting families that are there every year and get really excited about the walk. And the kickoff party is exactly that. Just get people in there, get them excited about fundraising, and, you know, really spreading the word about the walk, because the walk is, one, our largest fundraiser every year, but also our largest awareness campaign, because every email that a fundraiser sends out to their friends and family tells one more person about ALS and really gets the word out there. Now,
anybody can get involved and join the walk, even though they may not have a family member or anybody who has ALS. They can come and support. And
yeah, and we love that. It's great to get, you know, people out there. One of the things that's really unique about our walk, I mean, I know lots of cancer survivors participate, and lots of cancer families and stuff are at those walks, but one of the unique things about the ALS walk is you see people in power chairs, you see people with walkers. It's easy to see who has ALS and how they're impacted and exactly what the disease does to a family. And I recently just did a presentation for Honeywell and their walk team for this year, and one of the women came up to me and she said, you know, I've done lots of walks for different diseases and causes, and she said, it took me forever. I was walking around the park last year and something was just different and I couldn't really pinpoint what it was. And she goes, and that finally hit me. There's no survivor shirts. She's like, it's just about every other walk that you attend, there's survivor shirt. And that's something that the ALS walk doesn't have yet. That's what we're striving so hard to work for, is to find that cause, to find that cure, so that someday we can have survivor shirts out there at our walks.
Yes, absolutely. And so there are teams out there that range from 1 to, well, 10s and 30s. I mean, I've seen big teams out there. We're huge.
No, we had one team last year that, it was actually broken into several teams, but there was about 400 people out there to support one person. So hopefully they'll all come back out there and do it again this year.
How do our individuals get involved? I mean, or sign up for this?
Okay. Visiting our website at alsanm.org is probably the best way, and then you can click on the walk link and find the walk from there. And then just sign up, register, start sending emails to your family and friends to get out there and support you in your walk efforts. Come out the day of. If you fundraise, you can also bring that with you the day of the walk. And then just participate and really get out there and get a feel for what we're all about.
Yeah, and if anybody has questions, comments, or wants to talk to you personally about something, can they call you at the office?
They sure can. Our office number is 323-6348, and they are more than welcome to give us a call there as well.
Absolutely. So get out there and sign up for the walk. It's a great thing. I'll be out there. It's going to be fun, fantastic. Lots of different vendors out there in support, and it'll be a good time just to show the support and try and fight for. Or what's Walk to Defeat ALS? Is that the slogan?
It is the Walk to Defeat ALS, and like I say, I tell people all the time, I would love to be unemployed because this disease has a cure, or even just change our missions because it has a treatment that will maintain people's lives for a little longer, and they actually will get to live a little longer with ALS. So that's what we're out there fighting for. A lot of what we raise here in the state supports our local programs, but we do at the national level support research as well as advocate for federal dollars to go into research.
Oh yeah, real quick, I did want to mention DC. Every year you guys go to DC to go out there and put your name out there and say, look, hey, help us out. Talk about, did you when do you usually go every year?
We usually go the weekend of Mother's Day, so I think it's like the second weekend of May every year. And it's a great trip. It is people living with ALS going to DC and sharing their story with our state representatives and senators, and asking them to support research and for funding for ALS. There are two initiatives that we have. One is just research dollars through the Department of Defense because military personnel are 50% more likely to get ALS than the general population. And then the other one is our National ALS Registry. And that is the largest research project of its kind going on. We're trying to get every person living with ALS to register on the registry. And that way we're able to identify commonalities between them because there are different surveys on there talking about what their exposure over the course of their life might have been. So those are our two big ones. And this year we came back, the House of Representatives approved us at $7.5 million for research this year, and the Senate hasn't passed it yet. But well, it's an election year, so
they're worried. Yeah.
This is a sport. We're not going to talk about politics here. So.
No. Well, that's great. Getting out there and putting the name out there and say, support us, and definitely, I like what you just said. There are no Survivor shirts, but. Hopefully real soon you can get that and accomplish that. So
that's one of our biggest hopes is to have that someday. So
absolutely. So that's Carrie Copeland, Executive Director of ALS New Mexico Chapter. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate your time, and get people out there. Remember, get online, ALS ALSA. Right?
Yes.
ALSANM.org?
Yep, that's it.
There you go. ALSANM.org. Visit online, sign up for the walk, and we'll see you out there. So, Carrie, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Andres, for having me.
Absolutely. All right. Let's get back. I was at Hot Fest this past time, and you're going to check out what happened at Hot Fest. So, here's some video and some good stuff.